Today on V8 Extra, we preview the Dick Smith Sandown 500. The Victorian and Queensland teams have been testing this week. We chat to many of the often unseen co-drivers. Mark Larkin's feature interview is with Stephen Johnson. Plus, Matt White joins us later in the show with all the Big Pond sport news. And we've got some fabulous images to celebrate Sandown's wonderful endurance racing heritage. That's all ahead on V8 Extra.
Thanks for joining us today on V8 Extra. Well, next weekend, racing resumes. The Dick Smith Sandown 500. The season of endurance is upon us again. And to preview all the action, sitting alongside today, Mark Scaife. Afternoon, Scaife.
Hi, Cropper.
Well, we're back to the traditional home. The curtain raiser was always at Sandown in yesteryear prior to the Bathurst 1000, and we return there again next week. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, it's a lot of difference in terms of the way the race will be run, won't it? I mean, Phillip Island, very fast, open-style circuit. Sandown, totally different. And it's the sort of circuit that will actually congest the field because essentially it's easier. It'll bring more players into what I believe is a competitive state. So there'll be a lot of the sort of co-driver guys will actually go better than they would at Phillip Island. So it'll close the field up, and I reckon there'll be more drama as a consequence.
Looking forward to having a big chat about Sandown, and we're going to catch up with some of the co-drivers today that you will see in the coming race meetings. But the big news of the week and the big news of the year is the return in 2013 to the series of Nissan. The biggest architectural change in our engines for 2 decades. Aaron Noonan has more.
For the last 20 years, pushrod engines in Falcons and Commodores have been the staple diet of the V8 Supercars Championship. But in 2013, Nissan come to play with their Ultima, and they'll bring this as well. It's a brand new engine that completely changes the game in V8 Supercar racing.
This is a masterpiece more so than a race engine. This is derived from a road car, so the cylinder head and the block is actually something that you can go and buy actually in the new Nissan Patrol for next year, but it's quad cam instead of one cams. It's a little bit taller. There's a few compromises that we've had to work with. You can see the inlet manifold's a bit different to what we currently have, just to try and get this engine under the bonnet. But basically, other than the look and the exterior, all of the fundamentals are the same. So the crankshaft, the bore on the stroke, the RPM limit, compression ratios are all identical to the current engine. So as far as parity, it looks a lot different. The way it will make its power, it goes about a little bit different with 4 valves per cylinder instead of 2. But
it's already September, and first race in 2013 is March, so we have only 6 months to build at least 14 engines for the Crystal, so that will be the biggest challenge.
We need to get it on the dyno, make sure there's no teething problems, and then start doing as many miles as we can on all of the components. And obviously we're going to have to go through the engine equalisation program where we need to get this engine to make basically identical power and power curve to what our current engine does. And then once we get to that point, supply it to V8 Supercars to get the engine homologated. The car's not far away. All of our departments here at Kelly Racing are busy doing, whether it be quarter panels or bumper bars or front spoilers. So we're at the point now where all of the design's done and pretty much everything for the car is actually in production. So not too distant future, we'll have something to bolt this in. I'll probably drive out of pit lane with a TRMI to see all this stuff in action, but yeah, just the sheer volume of what has had to be done through the design of the car, the design of the engine, and then the production of everything, and the whole lot of it's been done in-house. It's been a huge task, so it will be pretty rewarding to actually see the whole thing come together.
Aaron Noonan reporting there from Kelly Racing earlier in the week. Scaife, it's a big story.
It is a big story, and it's actually something, for us that we've done a lot of work on, and fantastic to have them using one of their family engines in the car.
All right, I want to jump back into the now, and let's have a look at the entry list for next weekend. Because I always enjoy doing this because we get in that single driver phase where you just constantly talking about the same blokes. And importantly, when you look alongside at who's matching, that's where the real story is, and it gives us a window on what's going to happen in the coming races.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Whincup and Dumbrell pretty much not far out of doing this full time, so he'll be very, very fast. Percat and Tander, obviously Nick's in the car all the time in the DVS. Holdsworth and Craig Baird, he's always driving, so he'll be strong. Winterbottom Stevie Richards will be strong. And John McIntyre, I was very, very impressed with him last year. He'll be with Will Davison.
Yeah, just looking through the list here further, Scafey, a couple of other notable inclusions. You've got Cam McConville teaming up again with James Courtney. He's well settled in there at Walkinshaw Racing these days. Andrew Thompson's moved squads. He'll join Tim Slade. We've got Owen Kelly in with Greg Murphy. He's hoping Greg's going to be all fit and fine. Dean Canto pairs up with Davey Reynolds. Christian Clean, ex-Formula One driver, with Russell Ingle. And Warren Luff is going to join Craig Lowndes in the Team Vodafone Holden. OK, time to take a break on V8 Extra. As we go to the break, we've gone through the vault. We've found some fantastic vision from yesteryear and some of the earlier Sandown endurance events. Check this one out. Back in 1987, a victory for George Fury and Terry Shield, and that car will be on display at Sandown next week. Stay with us.
The race 45 minutes old, Johnson handed over to Neville Crichton, surrendering 6 positions on the track. That left Jim Richards in front, with the rain beginning to fall along with the fuel level in his tank. After squeezing every drop, he finally hands over to Longhurst and some wet weather tyres. Then the race began. Fury takes the lead from Longhurst.
And George does it too.
Bumper to bumper, Longhurst follows Fury into the pits and Richards comes out chasing.
That's where his weight
Fury and the wet track made it impossible for the BMW to pass. In the meantime, Peter Brock, running third, went for a final spin in the sand. With 12 laps to go, Richards dropped out as well with oil pressure problems, leaving Fury on his own.
George Fury tastes victory.
Another champion who's now treading the troubled road of the racing privateer is the 1973 Bathurst winner Peter Brock. Last year's National Touring Car Champion won the recent Sandown 250, but before that triumph had experienced a lean and disappointing year. In 1974, Brock ran for the Holden dealer team, but this year on his own the scenes changed.
Last year very much, I suppose, on call to be the traditional works driver, I suppose, but I just decided that I better start doing something for myself to look for my future, really, and my role in whatever life has to offer.
Wasn't that fantastic? Brock en route to the second of 9 victories at Sandown. That vision has not been seen for about 40 years, Scafey. Fantastic stuff.
He was very good there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, 9 wins, the same as Bathurst. Very, very good record. Now, it's been a very important week for the Queensland teams because the co-drivers have been running up there to get themselves organised. Now, we all both know Lucko does very, very little. So we sent him to Queensland Raceway to have a look at how those guys went.
Really tough things for a co-driver is trying to balance or manage your own aspirations of doing well versus bringing the car home for the team. Let's talk to a few of the guys.
Look, for me, obviously, it'd be great to win Sandown and Bathurst, and Craig would want nothing else either. But obviously, for both of us, it's part of a bigger picture for him. It's only 2 races of a very big championship, and that's the thing we've got to really keep in mind. It's part of his championship, and we're trying to obviously look towards getting Craig the best result we can.
Yeah, pressure's a big thing, especially when you've got a driver, obviously the main driver in line for the championship, with Shane is this year. So, I mean, it's a long shot, but we can still do it. I guess I've been dealing with pressure for a long time. 05 was the first time I was in with a co-driver, you know, well and truly in it to win it. And that year, Russell actually won in 05. So I'm back with Stone Brothers this year, which is good. So hopefully we can sort of redo that and hopefully get Shane up there in the championship.
I think it's easier, especially as you get older. You know, you're not trying to prove a point. You've got a lot of young co-drivers out there that want a full-time drive. From my point of view, I've got to jump in, do the lunchtime stint, make sure it's in one piece, we're on the lead lap, and give it back to Ace here.
You know, there is pressure there, obviously. You know, for example, Tim and the Lucky 7 boys, they've been working hard all year, so, you know, they're well in the championship. Obviously, I just try to go out and do my best. Obviously, you know, if I can do my best, then, you know, I won't make any mistakes and we'll have a good result.
The biggest thing is, you know, for the last 10 years of my career, I've always been focused about, you know, me doing the job, you know, having to carry the car or, you know, sort of do the last part of the race. Now it's all about delivering exactly what the team needs. So if the team needs me just to do the lunchtime stint, that's what you're prepared to do. If strategy dictates that you need to do a longer stint or a larger job, you know, that's what you've got to be prepared to do as well. And I think with 10 years experience, hopefully I'm the right person for the job.
Always have something of a soft spot, Scafey, for the co-drivers in these events because the degree of difficulty is extremely high and effectively like the vibe for the semi-final and the grand final in our business.
Oh, no doubt. And you think about this 1 point difference, and some of these guys are going to play a big part in this championship. Warren Luff has got a big job to do with Craig Lowndes. He's got real momentum coming into this part of the year, and he's done a great job. He did a great job with Courtney in 2010. That experience will serve him well.
OK, time for another break. Coming up, we're going to catch up with the blokes who tested at Winton this week as well. But as we go to the break, check this out. We'll roll the clock back to 1982 at Sandown. This one is a classic battle between Brock and Johnson. Check out the crowd and the reaction.
Welcome back to Sandown, and we have about 20 seconds to the start of the 1982 Castrol 400. The cars lined up on the grid.
They're racing. Dick Johnson wins the start. Peter Brock goes with him, catches another gear, and the two of them are side by side as they come down to Ripco corner for the first time, and I think Brock has won the start and takes the lead. Johnson sticks with him on the outside. Kevin Bartlett is there. Alan Grice on the inside. Alan Moffat popping the nose of the Masters through a wall of cars. Bartlett brushing the fence as they go through there, and the crowd erupting as they catch sight of the Marlborough Holden dealer Dean Commodore leading the high-speed dress parade up towards Rothmans Rise. If you think Peter Brock was popular, just listen to the ovation as he leads first lap, 109 remain.
Once the flag dropped, it was a familiar story as Craig Lowndes cleared out from the pack. The battle behind was better to watch, with teammate Peter Brock fighting from 13th place in the grid up to 3rd before all the good work disappeared in a spin. Then Alan Grice and his Ford brought the pace car out, giving the teams time to make their final pit stop. It also bunched the field up, and Glenn Seaton grabbed the lead with a flying restart. For 40 laps, Lowndes chased him before pouncing, taking the lead, the checkered flag and the perfect warm-up for Bathurst. Then it was time to celebrate.
1996, one of the great moments again at Sandown. We're celebrating Sandown. We're there next week. Welcome back to V8 Extra. That was Craig Lowndes, a young Craig Lowndes, battling away with an old mate, Glenn Seaton. Welcome back to the program. Now, previously, we caught up with the boys at Queensland Raceway. The co-drivers working very hard this week to settle into the groove. Now, let's find out what's ticking with the Victorian teams. We sent Aaron Noonan to have a look.
If there's a word that describes the endurance races at Sandown and Bathurst, it's pressure. Pressure on the drivers, pressure on the pit crews, pressure on everyone involved. But perhaps the most pressure is on the co-drivers. They've got a big responsibility at these races. And for some, the season of endurance begins not at Sandown, but here at their test track at Winton, because what you do here might just have a massive effect on what happens in the next 2 races.
It's tough to come out, do 2 races a year. It's good to come here and get some testing laps, and looking forward to having a skid in the 33 car.
You know, I haven't driven the car for a while, and yeah, blow the cobwebs out on a day like this is great. Michael's carrying good form into these races, and you know, I've been around once or twice and a good fit in the team, and yeah, I think the expectations are quite good.
Both brothers have won the big race before at Bathurst, and you know, they're both very experienced, so to team up with Rick is a great opportunity, and yeah, I think the smart thing to do is to get in and do your job and to do a solid job for the team.
It's a fantastic opportunity, and like you said, it's my first season in supercars, so to be doing it this early is fantastic. So it would be difficult to go in with Jamie or Craig with those sort of expectations, so to come here and do it with Taz, you know, we have still got high hopes. We want to do a great job for the team, and also for Taz, you know, he's in the championship and going for it, so yeah, for me, I just want to get a solid job in and get, you know, a good result on the board for you know, depending on what I do next season, this could make it. I think top 15 towards 10 is you know, very realistic. Taz was quick at the start of the season in Sandown, so we you know, I think we'll do a good job.
Yeah, I've been out of it full time for a while now, so I don't get a lot of miles obviously, but I'm pretty experienced. You know, you hop back in and it's just like you were in it yesterday. You know, Brad Jones Racing's having a great year, and Fabian especially very consistent, which is a good sign. They're a great team. Fab's a good guy, and yeah, they're on form, and I can't wait.
And Scafey, as if the job's not tough enough for the co-drivers, the other thing about this time of the year, it's springtime. We're coming up to finals time for the footy, which means dodgy weather, and at Sandown over the years, we've had some wild stuff.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I said about the circuit and the way the race will be run, but all the weather and all the variables of that sort of place, we've had, and I don't know whether you remember,
yes, I do.
But when it hailed that time, I think there was an Audi was the safety car. I was leading. I couldn't keep up with it. The Audi bolted on me.
I remember blokes gyrating off at the end of the front stage. There's been some wild wild stuff there. Coming up after the break, we're going to catch up with Stephen Johnson, one of the big names who always does very well in the endurance racing. But as we go to the break, on the subject of dodgy weather, have a look at the battle between Jason Richards, the late great Jason Richards, and my mate here, Mark Scaife.
A race against the clock at the end of an extraordinary day. Richards has a look around the outside. Now he'll have a look at the inside. Maximum pressure. How long can Scaife hold him out? Down the inside goes Jason Richards. Oh, they both go. Oh, no, he's gone into the gravel. They both go. No. Jason Richards can't salvage it from there. Scaife gets out. And Scaife has been let off the hook. And after a blue blitz in the championship, Mark Scaife and Todd Kelly turn the tide and win the Sandown 500.
1.4 seconds between Mark Scaife, Craig Lowndes, Holden Racing Team versus Triple Eight Racing. You ride with Lowndes. You're zeroing in on Scaife. Turn one might be the opportunity for Lowndes. And he's coming close. He gave Scaife a little tap before, and perhaps almost another one. Good run out of the final corner. Is this Lowndes' opportunity? Yes! He draws alongside Mark Scaife. Now it's a true drag race. Side by side. Lowndes gets in. What a race for Yvonne Muller to come to. Craig Lowndes, Yvonne Muller wins Sandown. The better electrical 500 is theirs.
Fantastic job, Barry. What a drive.
Another great Sandown 500 memory, this time back in 2005. Old mate with Craig Lowndes, totally out of control.
Oh, it was fantastic. I damaged the front spoiler and I couldn't battle. I was gone. He basically had me. But we were absolutely out of control. The amount of opposite lock and stuff, it was just fantastic. It's one of the best races I've ever been in.
We've seen some great races over the years at Sandown. We'll see another great one next weekend. OK, time now to catch up with Larko, who recently sat down, had a good yak with Stephen Johnson.
Stevie, thanks for joining us. Well, mate, I look around this place, I see history, I see pedigree, I see lots of results, including a championship-winning year in 2010. Not quite where you want to be at the moment. What needs tweaking, mate?
We can go back, you know, probably almost to that 2010 championship year, and you know, there was so many resources used for that year. You know, we're still playing a bit of catch-up. We just have to, you know, refocus now. We've grown a lot since then, obviously, with the 4 cars. But, you know, obviously the performance side of things hasn't been up to scratch. So we need to, you know, really knuckle down hard and do some hard yards. And, you know, it's only going to make the good times better, you know, going through these bad times.
Stevie, let's get a little more controversial. I raced against your dad and I always thought he was tough but very fair. Similarly, I rank you as one of the toughest, fairest but more sportsmanlike drivers on the track. So who don't you like seeing in your revision mirror? Who don't you like racing against?
Craig Lowndes. Sorry, Craig. No, but, you know, I've had some great battles with Craig over the years, and he's awesome to race against, but I just hate him. He just doesn't let go, you know, like he's there, he's all over you all the time. So he wears my eyeballs out when he's behind me.
Mate, now the tough question. You're 37, still got driving years left in you, I know that, but there must be a time where you're now starting to feel the pressure of the need to step up and run this establishment. We want to see the Johnson name around for many years to come. Are you feeling that?
I'm dealing with it not so much day to day, but I'm planning it sort of year by year, I guess. You know, I don't see myself retiring from the actual driving aspect for the next, you know, 2 years, maybe 3 years at least. But I am mindful of the fact that when I do finish my driving career, I don't want to be starting from square one within the business side of things too. So I'm grabbing bits and pieces out of the business at the moment, not overdoing myself. We saw that with Bridie back in the Britec days. You know, the fella can drive, there's no doubt about that. But as soon as he started to get too intensely, I guess, engrossed in the business, you know, that suffered, and I don't need that, I don't want that.
Currently you're sitting about the middle of the championship. Give us a goal. What's an achievable goal for Stephen Johnson by the end of the championship?
You know, we really need to get back into that top 10 solidly, you know, like we were at the start of 2011, right through. You know, we were qualifying in the top 3 or 4 for a lot of the times. We had a couple of podiums. You know, we need to get back to being, I guess, that solid, and I think that's, you know, achievable definitely for us. But, you know, we just need to knuckle down and get some of those basics right. Steve,
sincerely, I hope that works really well for you, mate, because I'd love to see the Johnson name around for many years to come, and really enjoyed the chat today. Thanks, buddy.
No worries, mate. Pleasure anytime.
Stephen Johnson there with Mark Larkham. Thanks for that, Larko. OK, time to go now across to the news desk for the very latest Big Pond Sport news from the brothers Mark and Neil. To you, Matthew, looking very sharp today.
Do my best, Crompo. Thanks, mate. And don't you just love this time of the year? And it's been busy too as we gear up for the Enduros. Now, FPR has taken the covers off its first Car of the Future spec Falcon at Winton, and team boss Tim Edwards declared it an unbelievably successful first outing. Well, driver announcements for the Armour All Gold Coast 600 are coming thick and fast, boys. IndyCar pilot Mike Conway will drive for Team I Select, while Brad Jones Racing has gone for sports car pilots Stefan Saracen, Nicholas Manassian and Jamie Campbell-Walter. And it's hard to believe, but today is 6 years to the day since we lost the great Peter Brock. As they say, long live the king. And that is Big Pond Sport News Extra. I'll see you in Melbourne next weekend.
Thanks, Matty. Well, Scapey, we're just about out of time, and seriously, it'd be the first time, I think, certainly 26-7 years that you've not participated in this race. It'd be a sad moment next weekend.
Will be. I mean, it's something that I haven't really got my brain around yet, and you don't really work it out until you get there and you see guys qualify and race. But, you know, it is a bit of a strange thing for me, for sure.
All right, we'll look forward to catching up with you next week, and, of course, having your company as well next week. We're out at Sandown, the Dick Smith Sandown 500, the first of our Enduros. Coverage on 7, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, if you can join us out at South East Melbourne at Springvale. And our next V8 Extra will be on the ground, a very special episode Sunday from the paddock, in the pit paddock. Mark will be there with us as well. Hope you can join us next weekend right here on 7 Sport. On behalf of everybody at V8 Extra, bye for now.